Hi, I'm Dr. Jeffrey Gurian, the founder and CEO of the Happiness Center, as well as Comedy Matters TV and Stop Stuttering Now. I'm a 20-year board member of the Association for Spirituality and Psychotherapy and one of the only doctors with a long-standing career in comedy, as well as being a best-selling author and a motivational speaker on happiness. And today, I'm going to tell you about the 5 things I wish I knew when I was younger. Number 1, feelings aren't facts. I had to learn that just because I feel a certain way doesn't mean that I'm going to feel that way for the rest of my life. There was a time if I was sad or lonely, I thought that that's how I was going to feel forever. I had to learn that I'm an empath and highly sensitive. And when I feel things, I feel them very deeply. Sensitivity is not a weakness, it's a great strength. And I had to learn to own my sensitivity as a strength. And if more people were sensitive, it would be a much kinder world. Number 2, don't believe your thoughts. This is a strange one because whose thoughts can you believe if not your own? But the fact is that all of us, I'd say probably every one of us, are holding thoughts that are not valid for us. Very often they're negative thoughts against ourselves that were given to us by people, and very often in childhood, that did not have our best interests at heart. And any thought you create, you can also uncreate. Anytime we have to make a decision, we use our thoughts to figure out what to do. And these thoughts, these negative thoughts, which I call heart wounds, affect our self-esteem, our self-confidence, and every decision that we make. Because every time you're called upon to make a decision, you think about what you should do. And if some of your thoughts are not valid, your decisions are not going to work for you. Learning this is what allowed me to cure myself of a severe stuttering problem. And now when I introduce myself to people, I always say Jeffrey Gurian, because I could never say Gurian. Stutterers have a very hard time saying their own name. So don't believe your thoughts. Number 3, fear is a bully. Fear wants you to stay in bed with the covers over your head and not do anything. It does not want you to accomplish your goals. I grew up with a million fears. I don't know where they came from, but I've been battling fear all my life, and that is what has allowed me to become a doctor, to become a nationally known comedy person, to become a radio personality, mostly to conquer stuttering so that I could speak to people and carry a positive message. And it's what allowed me to write this book, Fight the Fear, Overcoming Obstacles That Stand in Your Way. Because as I said, fear is a bully. And when you stand up to a bully, they shrink away. Number 4, avoid resentment. Resentment is like you taking poison, expecting the other person to die. They're not thinking about you, and you keep them in your head all the time. They give you a headache and a stomach ache, and they're going about their lives just fine. There was a time in my life I didn't know that if you had an argument with somebody, you could make up. I thought the relationship had to be over. Forgiveness is a very powerful concept and will help you lead a life of happiness. Number 5, everything that happens to me is part of my path. There's a tendency to think that when something bad happens in your life, you tend to say to yourself, why me? But the spiritual answer is, why not me? Whoever promised me that my life is supposed to be perfect and that nothing is supposed to happen to me that I would label as being something bad? We have no choice. It's very easy to accept spiritual principles in your life when it feels like everything is going perfectly. It's when it feels like nothing is going right that those principles are really important to embrace and take into your heart. It's what helped me survive a widowmaker heart attack and a hospitalization with COVID double pneumonia, and it's what led me to write my first happiness book, Healing Your Heart by Changing Your Mind, a spiritual and humorous approach to achieving happiness. You have any idea how hard it is to get a dog to sit in lotus position?